This is Tim McMaster and Connor Hughes from the Can't Wait podcast, a show about the New York Jets. On Sunday, the Jets took the field for the first time since the firing of defensive coordinator Gregg Williams, and they looked uninspired on that side of the ball all around. Secondary, up front, linebacking core. It was ugly, and it was somewhat anticipated, right, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this heading into the firing of Gregg Williams into this game. I mean, there was a talent discrepancy, obviously, between the Seahawks and the Jets. I mean, it's A team, B team, varsity, JV. It was obviously going to be an uglier game. It was never going to be close, but you kind of get the feeling that it might have been a little bit closer if Gregg was on the sideline, because it was a give and take with him as your defensive coordinator. His arrogance was always going to bite the Jets at some point or another. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room and wants to prove it. So he was going to do something that no one else would do. And a lot of times he'd get caught with his pants down. But what you get, and the other thing too is like his players, he had like that really aggressive, angry, mentality, which then embodied his players as well, which is why you saw those extra penalties after the whistle, and the Jets lead the league in both unnecessary roughness and roughing the passer, all that fun stuff. But what you were getting from Gregg as well was unique looks. He was a creative defensive mind, and you knew that each game plan was going to give the opposing offense something unique, something different, and something weird that would at least momentarily keep them off guard and keep them away from what they thought they were going to see. And it would keep the Jets in the game for at least the time being. Then eventually, the offense figures Gregg Williams out, and then where the defense gets worn down, and then the points start adding up. But at least there was going to be competitiveness, and there was going to be a moment where it took the offense time to figure Gregg out. And when Gregg left and the Jets fired Gregg, you saw this coming in that Frank Bush was not able to do the same thing. The Seahawks had their way with the Jets. I mean, they went up and down the field with the run. They went up and down the field with the pass. Russell Wilson had all day to throw. He had receivers that were wide open when he wanted to throw. I mean, it was a bloodbath. And I'm sure some of it obviously had to do with talent discrepancy. Some of it probably had to do with a hangover from that ugly loss to the Raiders. But some of it also had to do with the fact that you did get worse by letting Gregg Williams go. It was a move you had to make. You had to let the guy go, but Frank Bush is not Gregg Williams. There's a reason for that, and I think you saw it on Sunday.
Now, do you think we know that what they're doing defensively is probably going to stay like it was Sunday over these final 3 weeks of the season, but is there a possibility that this defense, as time goes on a little bit from the departure of Gregg Williams, maybe shows a little more inspiration on the field?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen this week because it's going to be a tough game. Like it's going to be a tough game against the Rams, especially because the Jets are flying back home. So they flew back home last night to Florham Park, and now they're going to go back Friday. So you're spending 18 hours on a plane in a 7-day span. That's not ideal for anyone. I mean, that's ugly for all parties involved. So that's probably going to take their toll. The Rams are a good team. They're fighting for the playoffs. They're fighting for a divisional title. I think this Sunday is going to be another one where the Jets just get their rear ends handed to them. Against the Browns, against the Patriots, maybe. Yeah, maybe you see something different. But I think the one thing that you always got with Gregg, like I said, is you were always going to get those unique looks. And I just don't think with Frank Bush, you're going to get that. I just don't think that you're going to get those same looks.
One more thing, and that is beyond just what we saw defensively with Bush running things instead of Gregg Williams. Late in the game, we saw some nonsense from Bless Austin. He took his helmet off. He got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Just things you don't need to see. How would Gregg Williams have responded to that versus what the Jets may do?
I embellished him, right? I mean, that's
you would have
Gregg
loved
Williams.
It, right?
That's
yeah,
Gregg. Yeah,
exactly.
You would have loved every bit of it. He didn't care. That's who Gregg is. And I think that what you did see, though, I think that the bigger issue with Bless is that was just frustration. It was frustration coming out. It was just, getting your butt kicked again and wanting to do something and finally make an tackle. But there's a time and place for it. Screaming and yelling, taking your helmet off, jawing to the sideline and sticking your tongue out. You don't do that when you're down 37-3. You don't do that when it's the entire backup Seahawks offense in there. It's not the time and place for that.
Thank you for listening. The Athletic is the world's fastest growing sports media publication. Get in-depth sports stories you can't find anywhere else. Visit theathletic.com/Google to take advantage of our holiday offer. Buy a subscription as a gift, and then you get a subscription for yourself. So basically 2 for 1 from now through the holidays. And ask your Google Assistant to play the latest episode of the Can't Wait podcast.